of the lawnmower to make the lawnmower. You've got to store it somewhere and so forth. So that's the cost plus pricing method where you're able to recover your costs plus make a profit. Okay. So costs may change. So for example, if you're making lawnmowers, not sure why I'm picking on that, but if you're making lawnmowers, sometimes the components to the lawnmower might increase in price. So you got to make sure that you're adjusting it so that you are getting at least a minimal profit from your business. In Georgia, you can operate your business for 3 years without showing a profit on your taxes. It's okay because they know that you're starting your business and that you are, in the process of refining things so that you can show a business at a loss or no profit for 3 consecutive years. After that, they're going to look at you and ask you to make some changes or dissolve the business. Loss leader is where you are operating simply at the cost of the product. So my lawnmower cost me uh, $50 to make, then I'm going to also sell it for 50. Now 50 includes the shipping and all the other stuff. So let's keep that in mind. So the cost of it is not just making it, it's the shipping, the storing, whatever. I'm going to sell it at that without making a profit because I want to get the customers in the store. And usually that method is used, or that model is used to get customers in the store so they can buy other things. So you'll make a profit, but not off that particular product. Um, they have this concept called bait and switch, which they do a lot less now because it's not legal in the United States. Where I might say, hey, this lawnmower is only $50, and you come into the store, and I don't have any more lawnmowers. We sold out, but this is what we have: is the bait and then the switch. So you're baiting the customers by telling them that this is a great price, and they herd into the store, and then you switch and say, oh, that's sold out, but this is what we have here. They do it also with cars when they sell cars. It's a bait and switch method. So it's very unethical and it's also illegal. So you want to, this is coming from the authors of the text, that you want to not use that method until the business has become, more prominent, or you're gaining momentum. You actually are understanding how the business works and you're making the adjustments, and then you're in a position to sell this product at a loss. But you also want to make sure that you're offering something that is attractive to them so that when they come into the store and buy that or go online to your site and purchase that product or service, that there is something else there that they will purchase that you will derive a profit from. So I just want to make that clear. Cost plus pricing. And we kind of talked about this already, is the pricing where you decide what's the cost in terms of building it, shipping it, storing it, whatever, and what your profit margin is. And you've got to look at the industry to determine what's a reasonable profit margin. So if the industry is holding at a 2% profit margin, and you come in and you price your product or service to be at a 10%, then there's going to be, your competitors are going to come for you, but the customers are going to go away from you. All right. Again, your prices are determined by what the competitors are offering. So you can't be that much more than your competitors or that much less, because they're going to be looking for you and they're going to be revising their own strategies to capture that market that you're trying to get. Okay. Again, the customer is the one, or your market is the one that decides that this price is the right price for this product or service. So it doesn't matter what you think or what you believe. If the customer is not willing to purchase your product or service, that is not the right price. Sometimes that's a hard concept to for people to wrap their heads around, especially if you're like me. I like to watch those shows that sell high-end real estate, and then you have someone that comes in. You have a person that has a beautiful home, and they've added so many things to the home. They may have added a different room, or made the closets bigger, or added onto it, and then the realtor will come in and say, this is what the market is bearing for the house. And then they're very emotional. The seller is very emotionally involved in it. Like, we've added this to it. The pool is bigger and so forth, but the market won't bear it. And then the realtor has to tell them that, we can only sell it for this because that's what the market is bearing. And they will look at the other properties around your property. They call those comparables. And they say, well, this house down here is only selling for this. So we can only sell your house for this because the market won't bear it. So that emotional aspect of it comes into bear, and people are disappointed because they feel very emotionally attached to their property, and they spend money to remodel, refurbish, add on to it, but the market just won't bear that price. So pricing is not emotional. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. When you price your product or service, it should be very logical with no emotions. So if you're pricing a service, it's different than a product, because in a product, you're actually looking at the components that make up the product, and billing it and so forth. When you're pricing a service, it's time. For example, um, in professional services, which I work in professional services, where we're really selling our time and our expertise. So we're billing our customers, and there are different types of contracts that you can use, like maybe time and materials, fixed costs, and so forth. So what you're getting is time. When we bill our customers at the end of the month, it's X amount of hours that we spend doing certain aspects of consulting for your business. So time is the cost. So you got to decide, how much is my time, or my professionals, how much is their time worth, and you bill accordingly. So again, you have overhead expenses, such as, if I'm a consultant, which I am, I have a computer, I've got, an office, I have different software that I use and so forth. So we do have overhead expenses, but my education, my experience is what is the inputs to pricing that service. Again, you want to look at what your competitor is offering in terms of pricing. Okay. So you want to make sure you price yourself into the market and not out of the market. And doing so, again, I have to underscore that you want to make sure that you are meeting your costs. So you're not saying, I'm going to price myself like the competitors, but I'm operating at a loss. You don't want to do that. You want to price yourself so that you can make at least a minimum profit, so you cover your costs. So if you're a startup, you're going to offer um, like value added things. For instance, if I'm a startup, I can say, we will, and I'll use my lawnmower. When you purchase a lawnmower, you'll get 30 um, days of free support or whatever. If you don't know how to use it, we'll send someone out there to help you to use it and so forth. So you're giving them a greater value for the money that they're spending on the lawnmower. Small increments of money should be avoided. The reason why they say this is because if you do small increments, you're going to keep doing it, and it's going to look suspicious why you keep increasing your price every month. So you want to put a lot of thought into how much you're going to increase your price and how often. If you do it a lot, it's going to look suspicious, and the customer's going to think, well, what's wrong with this product? Why are you always, discounting it and so forth? Or why you always increasing the price? You can also think about quantity discounts. We mentioned at the very beginning of class this concept of economies of scale, where the greater amount of units you produce, the lesser the costs per unit is. So for example, in North America, I guess, well, not in North America, Walmarts are all over the world. Walmart is a giant conglomerate superstore, and I think Amazon and Walmart may be merging for some reason. I don't know. I've heard it, but I'm not sure if it's true. I haven't done any research. So when when someone told me that, I said there was the fourth horseman of the apocalypse if Amazon and Walmart merge because they're huge. So um, Walmart can sell their products for a lot cheaper than a mom and pop store. So if I go into Walmart, for example, and I purchase this water, and I'm not selling this water, no one's paying me, so let me turn the label away. I purchase this water. Let's say I purchase this for $1 at Walmart because Walmart has bought, 50,000 of these. So they got a greater unit price discount. If I go to another store that's not as big as Walmart, I might spend $1.50 for that. So you want to look into how you can get a quantity discount to your offer to your customer. So on the back end of that, you might want to enter into a contract with your suppliers so that you are able to offer that quantity discount to them. The airlines, for instance, airlines need fuel, and what they'll do is that they come into a contract with the fuel supplier for like 10 years. So they're locking the price, of the fuel for 10 years. So even though the fuel costs go up, they don't get that reflected price in it. So think about contracts with your suppliers so you're able to pass on any savings to your customers. Promotion. How do people know about your products or services? So you have different types of promotions. You got the pure promotion, such as radio advertising, where you buy an ad on the radio or on television, and they run it for, you know, um, 3 months, and so forth and so on. Let me say something about radio and television advertisement. You cannot just do it one time. You have to do a series of it, and then you want to decide um, at what times of the day you want the advertisement to run because you want to run it when your customer is more than likely watching or listening. So you don't want to run an ad at 4 a.m. in the morning unless you're selling stuff to insomniacs, right? So you want to make sure you run it at the time when they might be listening. For example, on the radio, um, maybe less now than it has in the past, the morning rush hour where people are driving to work. And in Georgia, I work virtually, so this is not something that I know of personally, but people drive quite a distance to work. So you have like a half an hour, 45-minute commute. So they optimize the advertising so that you're trapped in your car, if you will, and you're listening to these advertisements. So you want to make sure that it's timely that you're advertising to your market at the right time. So pure promotion. Sometimes you don't have much of a say over it. We did a national advertisement for my book, and we didn't really have a say as to when they advertise it. However, they advertise it at different times, and they advertise it after key programs have been aired. So that was good. So mixed model is where you get the community involved. So you always want to have some type of community involvement in your product or service. It's good for your public image as a company. So you might do something with children or with schools or with hospitals or with the elderly, or find a tie-in to the community so that the optics, if you will, looks positive. And you don't want to, when I say that, I'm thinking you don't want to exploit the community for profit, but you want to offer something valuable to them and get them involved. People are very, very attracted to things where you're trying to help people that need help. Veterans, for instance, I think our veterans need all the support that they can get, and a lot of times they don't get it. So if you can have a tie-in to some type of community service, that's a great way to promote. For instance, you can say 10% of our profit goes to helping orphans, or For every dollar you spend, we'll donate a dollar to XYZ. So that type of promotion is good. And then virtually free promotions. So that's when you have um, just your people that work for your firm, they are promotion because hopefully they're out talking up your product or service. So the costs are low, but you have your employees that are actually doing the promotion, right? So they may attend different events, networking events, and they're handing out cards or they're talking up your business and so forth. Just checking for okay, pure promotions. Okay, so you can have signs, you've seen signs, and this is obviously for brick and mortar or BAM establishments. You've seen signs, billboards and so forth all over the place, a lot of signage. Um, and you've got to make sure that you are not breaking any laws. Like in my county, you could put up a sign during the day, but you've got to take it up um, at the end of the day. You can't have it overnight because they'll come in and sweep and take all your signs, and you might get a ticket or you might get fined. So you want to follow the rules of your region. Uh, flyers, uh, flyers are another way to promote. I know when I go to like an area for shopping where there is a big area, I'll come out of the store and I'll see some flyers on my car and people flick them off and throw them away and they're a nuisance. So you can, run 1,000 flyers and hand them out. Web pages, when you do your website, making sure it's professional because that is your calling card. Sometimes that's the first look that people have at you and your business. So you want to make sure you present the right optics to them. So make sure that it's a professionally developed website that you have. Um, and let me add this to it because this doesn't happen as much anymore because we're more globally intelligent than we were back in the day. But make sure that if your website is on the World Wide Web, so people from all over the world can visit your website. So make sure that if you are targeting, let's say your service is a global service, right? Uh, One of the mistakes that companies make is that they believe that one size fits all. And one example is Spanish speaking countries. So you have Spanish speaking countries, South America, you have it in Europe, um, you have it in other places, but it's not one size fit all. It's a different Spanish. It's the same thing with Portuguese, South America versus Europe. It's a different nuance to the language. So you want to make sure that you are taking all that into consideration. US English is different from Australian, from UK English. So you want to make sure that you are taking into account those differences. And then also you don't want to put things that are offensive on your website. So certain countries, certain colors mean something, certain words, like certain words in UK English are inflammatory in US English. So you want to look at those nuances to make sure that you're not being offensive to any culture or country in your World Wide Web presence. Social media. So you want to make sure that you have someone that is knowledgeable and an expert at social media so they can, and we all know that that's probably the quickest way, the most efficient way to get your product and service out there. It's also the quickest way to get if you want to do focus groups or studies and feedback on your products and services, social media is the way to go. Newspapers, um, it's like a one and done. You place an ad in the newspaper. Uh, that's used for specific products and services. It could also be for an older customer base versus if your customers is between 18 and 30, you know that you've got to dig deep into your social media because that's where they are. It's on social media. Radio and television, I mentioned that before, it's expensive because the time you have a very broad audience and you have different advertisers, and you may not be able to find the optimal time that your market is going to be listening or watching. And then trade shows. There are industry trade shows. There's probably a trade show for lawnmowers where you can, set up shop, set up your booth with your different products and services, and thousands of people come to the trade show, and they can come by your booth and you talk about your products and services and so forth. So, but they are expensive. So if you're a startup, that might not be something that's viable to you, but you want to look at all of these and think about leveraging them at different times and a combination. So you might do a combination of social media and radio and television. And that way you want to attract the biggest listenership possible. So social media primary platform. So um, millions of people on the World Wide Web, and there are different places that you can advertise. I know Facebook has a place for advertising business services. So does LinkedIn. And although LinkedIn, it to me has gotten less LinkedIn than it has in the past. It was initially for networking, but every other connection is someone selling you their service. And there's a way to do it where you're not offending people. Um, so for example, if I post something and you like it, and then the next thing I know is that you're selling me something, it's really a turn off. So you want to make sure that you approach your selling, especially on different platforms, in a way that's palatable, that you're not, being very pushy and with your customers, because again, they have a lot of choices. So you want to make sure that you approach this correctly. So mixed promotions is where you have you're in collaboration with a school, for example, and you have sports teams and all type of different teams in schools. You have uh, there's a lot of push now for music and the arts because educators have found that music and the arts is a gateway to other learnings. So there's a push for that. I'm not sure if it's financially supported as it should, because in a lot of cases, mass education, such as public education, is very like outdated. So this is a way to associating your business with some kind of positive event at the school. Also, church groups. Church groups are looking for sponsors and different things. So one of the things that my church does is we're very active in the community, which a lot of churches are. So let's say you're selling school supplies. So you might want to hook up with a church where every fall, which is when children usually go back to school, you have X amount of school supplies to give away to people in need. So there are lots of ways to have that mixed promotion where you have community support and you're building your image. Your image is looking like someone that cares about people and not just profits and cares about the community. So lots of ways to mix promotions. Bootstrap or free promotion is where you or someone in your business, you have speaking opportunities where you can talk about your school, your club, and so forth. So you want to make sure that it is something that is interesting and that it's not simple. It's not just about I'm talking about the features of my product or service. I'm also talking about the benefits that it's going to provide to you, not just the features, but the benefits. The benefits are what will get the customer on board. How is this going to benefit me? We talked about change management. When I talk about change management, the biggest thing to look at in change management is what's in it for me. WIIFM. So I understand that this software costs $10 million and it's gonna replace the old software. But what's in it for me? How can I personally benefit this change? And what does that mean for me when the change is complete? So what's in it for me is what you want to think about. Think about your customer as one person. And from that one person, try to meet all the needs that they have for that product or service. Once you have that on lock, then you can sell it to a million customers like that one person. So get to know that one customer inside out. Understand how the customer thinks, where they shop, what they listen to, what they like, what they don't like, and then meet those needs and then multiply it by a million. Okay. You also have local news or talk shows where they're always interested in new entrepreneurs. So I was driving Saturday or Friday. Yeah, it was yesterday, and I was listening to the radio, and this new, I think it was a shoe store. They had a grand opening, and the local radio station was there for the grand opening. So the local radio station is going to bring people there because they can meet the disc jockeys and so forth and the different radio personalities. And then that traffic, hopefully they'll buy some shoes from it. I didn't go, but I just thought that it was interesting that I was listening to this and we had this lecture today. So there are different ways to kind of, promote besides just promoting on television or radio or social media. So try to take advantage of all those different ways to promote. Sales management is how you're going to build and maintain your relationship with your customer. A lot of times entrepreneurs make the mistake of just once they sell to the customer, they forget about them. So once you bought my product or service, you never hear from me again. You want to build that relationship because word of mouth marketing, WOM, is the strongest and most effective marketing tool out there. That is where someone has used your product or service. It was so great that they can't help but tell other people about it. On the other hand, if it was really horrible, they'll tell more people about it than if it's really good. So if I go to a restaurant and the food is really good, I might tell, three or four of my closest friends, hey, check out this restaurant, what have you. But if it's really horrible, I might tell everybody that I ever speak to, don't go to that restaurant, it's horrible. So think about word of mouth, very effective, um, and make sure that that relationship with your customers is good so that they're able to promote you. I've got a friend that kind of stumbled into home renovations after renovating his own home, and he's got so much business now he doesn't even advertise because every time he does something, and he's different than the regular contractors is in that he's very ethical, and people like women or the elderly, they are accustomed to people taking advantage of them because they don't understand certain things. And he goes in there, he's very honest and fair. So then people tell him, people tell others about his services. And now he's got more work than he can handle. So you want to make sure that you understand that your customer relationship is very vital. It's not just selling them and then see you later. You're building that relationship because you can also sell other things to them in the future. So you've sold them a lawnmower, and then, it's been, a year or so, or maybe 6 months, and maybe they're, what are you in the market for? Maybe you might say, hey, have you thought about this? We're offering this now because you're a customer, you get X amount of discount or what have you. So you want to make sure you manage your customer base effectively. Reach out to them. It's not just one and done. And you've seen this like I have. I've gotten birthday cards from car dealerships, or did they have an event, they might invite me to it and so forth. So they have a database where they're managing their customers. So it's not just hit it and quit it. You want to maintain that relationship. And as I mentioned earlier, when you're an entrepreneur, everyone is involved in selling. So if you're out at an event or out and you're talking up the business, people say, "What do you do?" Well, this is what we do, and this is where we are, and this is how you can acquire goods or services. Okay. So here, when you manage your customers, here are some questions to think about. How many contact points will you have with each customer? And it's not just for the sales cycle. Like I'm going to reach out again, sell the product or service, follow up, and that's it. You want to determine what's viable in terms of contact points, because after you sell, you might want to have intermittent contact points with them. How is this product working for you or service? Are you thinking about any other purchases? Is there anything else that we can offer you? Do you have any questions? Were there any issues? So you want to determine the number of contact points. How will each customer be greeted when they come into the store? Obviously, you want to greet them, but if you're speaking with them on the phone or in a call or whatever, how are you going to read them? Once they place an order, how are you going to manage them? What is your sales force strategy? Is it a hard sell? Should not be a hard sell. Is it more personality driven? Some people are naturally acclimated with how to sell without pressuring. This is what you want on your sales team. How do you control the quality? I will talk about operations next time. So we're going to how are you going to control the quality to make sure that once a lawnmower arrives, it's in one piece. And if the parts wear out, if you will, or am I acquiring quality parts? So you want to make sure that if you build in quality in the parts or in the process, the end process or product will be a quality product or process. So if you build in quality in the different parts of the product or different processes in the service, the end product and the end service will be quality. So how much information do you want to collect from each customer? You're not going to collect their social security numbers, obviously, but what information do you want to collect? I mean, the minimal is name, address, phone, email. You don't want to be intrusive with your customers. And what will you do with the information collected? One thing that you don't want to do is sell customers information, which a lot of companies do that. You buy something and next thing you know, you get 10 pieces of mail, all these text messages and so forth. Don't do that to your customers. If you do, they will not think of you favorably. It might be tempting, but a lot of times companies will have a disclaimer, we will not sell this information. Sometimes they mean it, sometimes they don't, but don't abuse the information that you collect. So how do you manage your sales? So you want to have a consistent approach so that if I come into your business this week, next month, next year, I have the same experience. And you'll find that in restaurants that are popular. Like you can go to the restaurant and there's one here I can think of where anytime you go to the restaurant, the service is the same and the food quality is the same as in good. So this approach helps to maintain your business and that you're consistent. And the consistency, how do you drive that? It's driven around your mission statement. So what does your mission statement say? And then any activities, including your sales management approach, is derived and intended to boost and to magnify what that mission is. So you start with hiring the right people that's going to represent your product or service. And relationship building is key. You build a relationship with the customer knows that you care about them genuinely and sincerely, and they're going to be a customer for life. And not only that, they're going to tell other people about you. Returning customers are a huge, huge source of revenue. So you want to make sure that when they return, they have a similar, a better experience in terms of what they experienced in the past. And you want to make sure that you understand what their needs are now, not where they were when they bought the lawnmower 2 years ago, but what is it that they need now? Maybe they've upgraded their homes, right? Maybe they need a better lawnmower. Maybe they need other auxiliary products with the lawnmower. So think about that. So it's a process and a practice. You want people that are really good with people to be customer facing. And a lot of times businesses make the mistake of having individuals that are not cut out to be customer facing individuals greeting your customer base. And sometimes you will find that you might lose sales over it. The very first touch point with a customer is integral to what the experience is. If I have a great first touch point in terms of a phone call or an email or a physical reading, then it's going to set the stage for how my experience is with your product or service. So keep that in mind. So forecasting sales, you've got to do that in your cash flow because you want to show your investors that this is what we believe our sales will be for these upcoming periods. So you're going to take a macro look at the market, like a large overarching view of the market. And this is a market view of it, a market potential. So we're going to look at market potential versus customer demand. So the customer demand is going to be a derivative of the market potential. It's going to be a smaller. So if the market is 10 million people, that's not going to be your customer demand. It's going to be less than that. So you take a look at the market in entirety, and you estimate your sales based on the number of potential customers in the target area. So if I look at the market in Georgia, and let's say it's 10 million people that are in the market for a lawnmower, then my take on it might be, 2% or 1% because of the type of lawnmower I'm offering and so forth. So that's the market potential. So you say, this is what the market is. This is my percentage of the market. And then based on my percentage of the market, this is what my sales figures are. So my percentage is 2% of that. Then I multiply that 2% by my sales price. And that's going to be what my sales are if I use the market potential. So customer demand is different. It takes a micro look at the market. So you're looking at the market, not at the entire market, but you're looking at the number of customers given your location and your resources and other details. And then you look at the number of customers that's going to allow you to break even or make X amount of profit. So two different types of forecasting, market potential versus customer demands. Okay. So the customer demand entails a lot more legwork, obviously, than the market potential, because you're just looking at the market and taking a percentage of that. The customer demand, you're looking closer, you're looking at what the customer base is in that location, with your resources, with what your product or service offers, and then you're estimating how much of that can I capture to break even or to make a profit. So you can use either method to do your forecasting. If you are just starting out, you might use the market potential, and as you grow and get to know the market better, then you can use the customer demand, or you can use the customer demand to start with. Either way, but you are going to forecast your sales, and you have to give a reason for why you're forecasting your sales that way. So distribution channels is how do you get your products and service out to the market? So you can have people that sell, and they sell based on commissions. Obviously, you can contract a sales force. You can sell via the web, or you can do mail order where people have catalogs that comes to their home, and then they order it and then it gets shipped out. So these are different ways to distribute your products and services. So independent reps are they sell not just your product but different products. And Ahmed, thank you very much for stating that it's Ramadan and it's time for fasting and prayer. So for those of us, I did know about that based on the global calendar. But for those of you that are practicing Ramadan, I understand that you have to break away to fast and to pray. So the recording will be here when you resume. Thank you for letting me know, Ahmed. So you have sales representative that they sell different products and services, not just yours. They get a percentage of the price. And they're going to promote the products where they make the most money. So keep that in mind. So that the higher the margin for them, the more they're going to promote it. So you got to make sure that if you're using independent reps, you got the right rep at the right price to get your product and service out there. if you have a sales force, you have you contract salespeople to sell your product or service for a given period of time. It could be expensive, but again, it's very effective in getting the product and service out there. So you got to decide whether you want to use contract sales force. And again, this is going to add to the investment of the investors, right? So if you're thank you, Mohammed, for sharing that with me. So you're going to have additional expenses that you're going to be asking for investors to provide. So what you can do in in your pitch, if you will, you could do something like, we know we have several methods that we can approach, so that if the investors decide that we're only going to give you this much, then you can say, well, we'll just do web-based sales, or we'll have it where our sales force is really our employees that are selling. So might want to consider a combination. So sales and marketing go hand in hand. So let's ask our first poll of the day. What are some potential problems if they do not work together? So marketing is kind of promoting your product or service to your customers, and sale is selling them. So market comes first and then sales. So let's do a little poll. And I'm going to do a word cloud because that's my favorite. And think about, as I'm loading up the word cloud, think about what problems exist if sales and marketing do not go together. They don't work together. Or if you have one without the other. And remember that sales also involve managing your customers. It's not just selling it to them. It's like customer relationship management. What problems can occur if sales and marketing do not work together? So I put the word cloud out there, and you can answer in the word cloud, or you can answer in the chat, or you can come off the mic, come off mute, and give me your answer as well. So anything that you want to, any way that you want to respond is fine. So what problems can occur if sales and marketing do not work together? I'm gonna enter my response. No return customers, meaning that if you don't have a proper sales management method, um, your customers won't return because they feel like you just sold me this product and then you just disappear. So you're not interested in me, really. A waste of budget. Um, the latest information is not put out there because you might have, these are great answers, by the way. You might have, like, hey, this product is now on sale, or it's new and improved, if you will, or now we're selling in this country. So the marketing efforts are not, out there. No sales. The market can generate leads, waste of budget, inconsistent messaging. Yep. Because remember, your marketing should be unified message, and your sales management should be consistent as well. Customer communication, the efficiency is not being optimized. Very good. Decreased revenue, use of resources, inefficient use, and we can put inefficient use of resources together as well. So great answers. So you can see how problematic it is when your marketing is not aligned with your sales, right? So if you can think about it also as a cycle, because you can market, sell. It's like in a loop. And this is where you talk about your return customers, right? Market, sell, market, sell. And then as you're going through the cycle, you're attracting more customers, and then you have a bigger source of customers that you're marketing and selling to. So you see how important that is. Mohammed, I see your hand is up, sir.
Yes. Can the salesman work or do the job of the marketing? So we have one person doing both together, or it depends on the project itself, or on what?
Yeah, that's a good question. They can, especially if you have limited resources. If you're a bigger company, and it also depends on the product or service, right? Because it might be not tenable for one person to market and sell it. Um, so it does depend. If you have limited resources, you're going to be, you know, you're gonna wear all the different hats. You're going to sell, market, make, provide the service, and so forth. Uh, as you become more established, you want your employees to focus, right? So there's a specific focus for marketing and there's a specific focus for sales. So that allows you to be experts in those areas and not a jack of all trades. So if you present a different set of skills for marketing versus sales, and they are different, then it looks like you are more, I guess, more professional. In a lot of cases, you'll see sales and marketing department, but there are different people in there that's doing discrete things to it. So it depends, in answer to your question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, yeah, in my business, sales and marketing kind of works together because it's very small. Um, in the company I consult with, we're not doing a lot of sales because we are redesigning the product. So we've stopped sales temporarily so we can focus on redesigning the product and optimizing the product. So there is a big overlap. I'm trying to remember the sales and the marketing. So depends on your resources and it depends on your products and services. Let's see if there are any other questions. Oh, Lena has a question.
I just wanted to also comment the question of Muhammad that I consider, because I used to work mostly in sales, and uh, mostly we have different teams, sales and marketing, or different managers, because indeed marketing is mostly focusing on developing the product or brand or how to generate leads, and sales is about executing that leads. So from my experience, personally, I don't recommend to mix, even if a person or professional is capable, because there are different like loops and different views, and it's better not to mix. And plus the question of digital marketing, because now it's, if you promote through like internet web, so it's about SEO optimization, it's about different promotions through social media. So I barely can believe that one person can mix. So you will definitely need to outsource different people for that. So this person should be capable of managing also that people if you have outsourcing ones. So that's my point of view, my experience.
That's a good point. And I would like to hear from others too. I'm glad that you opened that up because have you guys experienced that they work together or they work separately? The sales and marketing team. Do you in your experience and not just your current experience, in like past experiences, do you notice that the sales and marketing work together or separately?
They work together. However, they have like different overview.
Yeah. Different skill sets, right? Different skill sets, different strategy. Um, but they kind of fold into each other. Like you said, you generate the leads. So now we've got these customers, and let's say we rank them hot, warm, cold leads. Hot leads, they're ready to buy. Warm means like they might need some, more information or what have you, or they're thinking about it. Cold means that they're just not interested. And then the sales personnel is tasked with, okay, how do we get them to actually pull the trigger? Okay, great. Thank you guys thank you for commenting. So we talked about that. So the web, again, today is the most efficient way to advertise at low cost or no cost. So internet-based marketing, and we talked about the different forums or platforms that allow you to display your products and services. And not only that, but they can ask questions. And, it's like a one-stop shop. You have your frequently asked questions, where, someone might want to know about the product or service, or, what's the warranty, if you will, how is it different, and so forth. So you want to be proactive about your FAQs on your website so that they can get all the information they need to know to make a knowledgeable and intelligent decision about your product or service. So again, professional design. Even if you have a BAM or brick and mortar, you need a website, because this is a way for you to the web is a place where you can market and sell your product and service. So you want to make sure that that's always up, always running, always current, if you will. Okay. So some companies are like, we don't, especially if you're remote. If your customers are remote, they don't have a fixed location. You just have a warehouse, and they mail this catalog to customers, and the customers purchase their products through the mail order catalog. So you got to identify, who are my customers that would use this? Is this customers who are remote, elderly, shut in, for whatever reason they prefer that mode or method? You want to identify who they are. You also want to consider credit card sales, because if you are selling on the web or in a BAM location, you're going to possibly use credit cards. There are issues with credit card fraud. So take that into consideration. The other thing, which is a personal pet peeve of mine, is when and this is usually a small business, because they may not know this. If you have transaction fees from the bank, you should include them in the price of your product or service. That is the cost of goods sold. So if there's a service charge, make sure that you're not saying to your customers, the lawnmower is $50, but I have to charge you $5 because that's what the bank is charging me. That is not a good look. So bake that into your price. So you're just presenting the customer with one price. When people say that to me, they'll say, oh, this is, $25 plus it's $2. It's kind of like, okay. I mean, now I'm thinking about, why am I paying your transaction fee to your bank? But if you put it in the price, then I'm none the wiser. So I recommend that. All right, so that is the end of this chapter. I think it's really interesting because it's something that's very relatable to everyone. So I'm going to stop the sharing and see if there are any questions before we take our break today. Are there any questions or comments about the marketing chapter? Anybody have any questions or comments? All right. So what we're going to do is take a break. We're going to we'll come back at 11:30, and then we'll talk about the questions you should be discussing with your teams today. So see you at 11:30. Yes, we have a shorter break today because we're gonna leave earlier. So that's why I put that up there. I made an executive decision this week. So we're back and let's talk about a couple things. We're gonna break into our team rooms and discuss the marketing business plan development questions. But I also wanted to point out to you that, and I mentioned this at the top of the call, after next topic, after the operations topic, you will have all the information that you need to complete your business plan presentation. And we talked about a few weeks ago that you're going to be recording yourself presenting that portion of the plan. What I plan on doing in the next 2 weeks is give you time during our sessions on Sundays, 2 weeks, for you to actually record your portion of it. So you don't have to worry about it. This is additional stuff that we're doing. We definitely want to see that you are able to present yourself in a way that is convincing, that is professional to prospective investors, right? Because you're the face of the business. And if I'm an investor, I want to see how you're talking about the business when you go out into the public, not just what you put on paper, because they're different ways. And that's why people have interviews where you can present yourself one way on paper, and then when you show up in person, it's a different way. There needs to be symmetry there. So consider me a potential investor. That is, you're going to be making this recording. I'm going to be looking at it and looking at your business case and how you present it, how invested you are in the business, how knowledgeable you are about what you're talking about, um, how you present yourselves professionally and so forth. So I'm looking forward to seeing your presentations. You are going to upload each of your presentation into the team folder. I will put those together, so don't worry about that part. So just upload your section. Make sure you name it like marketing, and so I know what I'm looking at, and then I'll put it all together and then have it available to you to have one cohesive video that you can look at in the future. So here we go. So any questions before we adjourn to our team rooms?
No, thank you, Professor. That will be helpful. You just make it more simpler that we will just record our part. Uh, Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Savia. Anytime. So we're going to stay there for about, we'll say 30
Hello, Prof.
minutes. Sorry, 1 second, John. 30 minutes. We'll come back, talk briefly about the individual assignment, and then we'll break for the day. So we took a shorter break. We're going to make it up on the back end. So you'll be leaving earlier
Prof.
today.
Request
Yeah.
again to give me the chance to answer the assignments and quiz. Last week I haven't done anything because I have a project another in my university. That's why I'm so busy for that. I really so sorry for me, but please let me do again.
Send me, could you do me a favor? Send me that request in a WhatsApp chat. And I'm glad you mentioned that because we're gonna not be taking late assignments unless it's extreme circumstances. And I do realize that everyone works and we have projects and so forth, and I know how problematic that is. I know that I do several things besides working full time, so I do understand that. But I also want to make sure that it's fair for everyone else that is working and prioritizing and making things happen. So I sent out an email last week. Make sure you check that out. And then if you have any special requests or extenuating circumstances, please send it to me via the WhatsApp chat and I'll take a look at it. I'll look at it individually. Okay?
Yeah, yes, Professor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's go to our rooms. And we'll be in the rooms till approximately, and I'll send a message out 11:36 to 12. Hmm. 12:30 to 12:36, 12:36, 12:37 now. Okay, I'll post a time so that you know what time to leave, and I'll be visiting you individually. So see you in the rooms. 12:40. to 12:30.
I think we're back to the main.
Yeah. We're back to the main.
I think we are back.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Professor.
Do you have any questions
Hello.
for me about your discussions in your room?
Yes, I have one question, Professor, because I missed the last time's session. So, we all are very proactively doing our parts in the business management business plan, but one of our team member is like, I don't know if he's still there in the university or maybe something is not right with him. He's not able to participate, and those slides are actually in the middle of our business plan. So if we don't get response from him, what should we do? Should we remove those slides or I mean, should
I
we
would
be
leave
able?
this. I would leave the slides in and just put the name associated with it. What's the person's name? Because I did ask some questions last week. Let me just see if that person dropped or not. Now, give me 1 second. Let me pull this up.
And I have also a question, Professor. What is the last date for submission our presentations?
1 second. Let me just okay, here we go. All right, let me answer the first question. What's the person's name that's not responding?
It's Saif. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. SAIF, Saif.
Yeah. I did reach out to the school. I don't know if Sarah is still on, but I didn't get a response back. So what I want to do is in the plan, put whatever that title is and put the name of the person next to it. So I know as I'm going through the grade,
Okay.
who did what or who didn't do
Sure.
what in this case.
Sure.
And I
Yes,
haven't
we
gotten
already
a
did
response.
that part. Yeah.
Okay.
So initially, when we divided work, we had name of each of us on the slides. So I completed mine, and Judy Lenez and Muhammad is working on theirs, and then Saif's also in the middle of the plan. His slides are there with his name.
Okay. All right. So that way, and again, and I know that's been an issue with individuals not participating. That's why I instituted the self-grading and the grading of the team. So that gives me better perspective into who did what, including the communications we have going on. So
Sure, Professor. Thank you.
thank you. And the other question was when is the business plan due? What's the last day of class? Let me look at that schedule.
Usually it's end of the 4th month. So I think
April
until
30th.
April 30. Yeah.
April 30. Okay, so that would be the final day, even though the class ends on what's the last session we have?
30 April. April
Oh,
30.
Okay. So yeah, because we're not going to be including last 2 sessions. Let me just double check here. Give me a second. Let me do some research. I'm going to give you time enough to finish the class and turn in your assignments. So give me some time to look into that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Anybody have any other questions? All right, I intend to give you your time back today that I took from you during the break, but I wanted to just post in the chat and do some clarification what the individual assignments are for this week. I guess I can share my screen. So if you've noticed, the individual exercises are meant to kind of fold into what you're doing as a team. So in some cases, they mirror each other, but we have 3 questions this week, and you can take your responses from your team discussion if you need to. What channels do you intend to use to market your product or service? What are the costs? I know I was in one room and the question was asked about the costs. So anything in your business plan that has to do with costs, you want to be able to put that in the plan because again, you're approaching investors to ask them to invest. So you want to make sure that all your costs are accounted for. And you guys are in a great place where you can do a lot of research on the web in terms of costs for items. As you move into business operations or further down into the business, you might do what we call, and I think you're learning it in project management, the PERT, where you take 3 estimates and then you kind of do some type of weighting of each one and you come out to what the right estimate is, the PERT method. So in lieu of that, you can just take, your 3 costs and then do an average of the 3 to come up with a cost. Because sometimes you see different pricing on the web. And then develop that marketing plan. Again, that's what you were doing in your team room. So feel free to transfer that data from what you discussed today into the marketing plan. That is the defined customer target area, the methods of promotion, the pricing of your product service, and what channels you're going to use to distribute your products or service. Any questions about the individual assignment for this week? Anyone have any questions? So hopefully that's clear. Again, a lot of the information or much of the information that you're going to use in your individual assignment, you were discussing it already during the assignment, the assigned times in your rooms. So you should be able to complete that. All right. Let's see a thumbs up from Samia. Thank you. All right. So as promised, I'm going to give you the time back. I know when we took 10 minutes break, it was like, what? But I plan on giving it to you at the end here because I know that this is the time of Ramadan and fasting and praying and so forth. So I want to make sure you guys have sufficient time to do what you need to do. So if there are no more questions, I'll see you on WhatsApp and then I'll definitely see you again next Sunday, same time, same place. Have a great week.
Thank you, Professor. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Samia.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Bye.
You can.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Sean. When you think about the cost, it's not just the cost of making the lawnmower, you got to think about shipping it, storing it, and so forth. So I will turn on the recording. Elena, let me see something. It says it's recording, so should I stop and start recording? Because it looks like it's recording.
Yes, it's recording, I guess.
Okay, all right. let's
Yes,
see.
now,
Right.
yes, now it's recording. It wasn't. I've just noticed that it wasn't, and Sarah turned on it.
Okay, all right. Thank you for noticing that. So let's see, where was I? Yeah, so you gotta when you price your product or service, you've got to